When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Greetings, everybody, and I'm actually not muted this time. It's amazing. How are you all today? Welcome to the Meta Show on the 29th of June. Joining me today, I've got Hyper Viper with his cool shades and Zintage. We're going to be talking about some new stuff in games and Horde's inability to get it up, as you might say. First of all, I'm going to make a point on the recent changes. CCP has revised their numbers for the systems. Please go take a look, but do not freak out about anything until your alliances have told you what they're going to do. Because there's no need to freak out until you know that, and it doesn't change for a few months anyway.
Just new opportunities.
Exactly. Anyway, we're going to jump into our top story today. And that top story is new corps joining goons from Serenity, I believe. So Hyper Viper, take it away. What is your story?
Yeah, so I'm, amongst many things, I'm the director of corporation recruitment for Goonswarm. So I focus on anybody looking to join Goonswarm as a corp and try to acquire corps to help build up the organization and make it even stronger and better. So with the help of my team of Silvitny from PLA and Admir, also from PLA, they've been helping me reach out to a lot of the Serenity alliances and corporations and just, general outreach. There's been views of the past that, maybe we don't recruit Chinese people within Goonswarm itself, but we've been talking a lot to a lot of different people. And we just had the announcement earlier today that ISU, the second largest alliance in Serenity, has actually joined Goonswarm. They have put a corporation inside Goonswarm, and they had a meeting letting all their members know to come and join us and that we are the place to be, which is great because we have a great Chinese community and we're looking to build it up even stronger and bigger. There's a lot of activity going on in that time zone, so lots of opportunities for both growth for Chinese corps and for Goonswarm as a whole. So we really welcome all of the people from ISU. We had 4 corporations join us this week alone. So we are really building up, and the meeting that ISU had 700 people in attendance. So really looks like a potentially large influx coming to Goonswarm. So lots of fun content. Goonswarm has a great leadership structure and the ability for people to do what they want and grow, as much as they want to do their things, have fun, enjoy the game how they like it. So we're really happy to have them. We welcome them all. And this is really neat times. Evens the playing field a lot and makes Chinese time zone not fully dominated by one organization, the Panda Fam.
It should definitely become a pain in the panda's ass, hopefully.
Yes, I mean we're reaching out. I mean, any Chinese corporations we're willing to talk to that's interested in coming over, even if they are on the hostile side. We have a great group. We don't hold against anybody. We want people to join us and become our friends and be brothers in arms and sisters and everybody in general. And we just want to, we're all here to have a good time, have fun, have fights, make money, and just enjoy each other's company and the community. So we're really excited. We have lots more on the way, and it's kind of a new age. We have a an Imperium based QQ server now. So everybody, for people that don't know, that's one of like Discord on China's behind the um the firewall in China. So they used by a lot of people in China and a lot of people that play Eve also. So we had that opened up, and yeah. So it's been it's been a couple weeks that we've been working hard on this, and there's even more great stuff along the way.
It's good to hear. Hopefully that'll bolster up our CN time zone stuff so they can't essentially do whatever they want anymore.
Yeah,
Which
Yeah,
is good.
I think that's a big thing that I had Hyper ask me. He went, "What do you want to see the strength in our CNTC?" And I told him, "Find me 100 new Chinese players."
You found 700.
And then he moved the decimal point over.
Hyper's always been an overachiever. You know,
well, and sorry, go ahead, Dave.
you say you want to take this space, and then suddenly you don't need to take the space because suddenly it's not their space anymore, sort of thing. You know, overachieving.
Yeah, I definitely liked challenges. So, but a lot of it's been, I've worked with Chinese groups for several years now, both in diplomacy aspect and other aspects, and really wanting to get to know the community well and really see what they need from us in leadership to help them grow and get bigger and be stronger and have fun. So that's what I've been really working at with, so, like I said, PLA CO Silvitny has been amazing. He's been great. He's somebody that has helped us reach out to a number of different groups in both Serenity and in the Chinese community out here in Tranquility. So he's been great. Admir's been great. The whole team's been great. We've been working really hard these past couple of weeks. So I think it's going to be a really great thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Horde and Frat react to it, because now they don't have a domination in the Chinese time zone completely.
Yeah, it definitely makes their time zone tanking a lot harder to pull off, which is amazing because it means EU and US can, do the initials and then suddenly whack.
Yeah, what happens when we have an extra 300 people show up for fleets? So I mean, we're already outforming some of the Horde. What was the numbers that we had on the fleet earlier this week?
Well, yesterday we had 900 people on Imperium side against 500. And that was 900 on a... Oh shit, let's go. I was in bed when Vintage went, we need somebody. So...
Yeah, so we're going to be obviously growing that whole breadth of that time zone. Nice thing about Goonswarm that we have for people is, there's plenty of stuff to do, and we reward friendship and loyalty with trust, and we build that up, and we work together and have a good time.
Yeah, everybody's equal really in the Imperium in general, which is great.
Yeah, there's no glass ceiling. Like, Admir is a director in Goonswarm, and if you're like something and you do really well, of course there's always going to be a spot in for you to go up and climb the ladder, so to speak.
There is a question in chat. Why bring the former Ranger Regiment CEO back to the Imperium?
Well, like I said, we invite everybody that we can, and if they might have been in the Imperium before, lots of people leave the Imperium and come back, so they're coming in as joining as a corp. I believe he was meeting Jerome Wang, and he was a great FC, and I think he used to run an alliance, but now he has a corporation with us, and I think it's going to be great. I think he gets to see how we work and understand what it means to be a part of Goonswarm. And I think that sometimes what people don't get, especially when you're a different alliance, when you get into our organization, you get to understand how much the depth of all the different things you can do. And sometimes, like when I was a alliance leader, you get really stuck. You got to do certain things. You got to be busy. But when you can be a corp, you can enjoy your time, do what you like, and have fun and not get bogged down by all the alliance paperwork and stuff. But there's always room to do other things in the future too. So who knows? We might need another alliance in the future. Maybe Regiment comes back. They come join us again. Who knows? There's lots of stuff. We can't predict the future, but what we can do is enjoy each other and have a good time blowing up spaceships.
Yeah. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah,
So.
Oh, go on. You gonna say something?
Oh, no, sorry.
So yeah, I don't really have any more questions about that. It's pretty cut and dry, I think, that one. I bet you Frat is a little bit concerned right now. But
Yeah, I mean, the it spread through the Chinese chats pretty quickly, as you can imagine, with a large organization like that throwing their hat in the ring with us. So we'll see how things go, and as they come and join us, I know all of the people and goons and the Imperium will be welcoming them and be happy to and look forward to fighting alongside with them.
Somebody's saying that their chats are getting blocked by the auto mod, but I don't see any auto mod actions.
I think it's just blocks bad posting, right?
Yeah, maybe. That's why it doesn't overlap me. Yeah, I'm not seeing any auto mod blocks. It's not giving me. It's weird. Yeah. I did hear a rumor that there's a special day today, or sometime soon, around this vicinity, Hyper.
Oh, well, yeah, I have to go soon to my birthday party.
It's Hyper's birthday, so I hear everybody should ping him happy birthday on Jabber. Maybe an Eve mail or two. He's 21 today.
Yes. If only.
Well, yeah, I wish I was 21 again.
Well, when I shave my beard, then I have my little baby face.
Well, yeah, I looked in the mirror the other day and I thought I looked like Otto Hightower from House of Dragons, so I was like, yeah, that's got to go. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's all on that. Let's jump into our nullsec stuff though, because a lot's been happening. So let's jump on into it. So, Zintage, I wasn't there, but tell us about their amazing siege fort that was definitely going to get online with their spam of pre-pings.
Oh, that was just a disaster on their part. So Wednesday morning, for the US at least, it was morning, they decided they had a Fortizar that they were going to anchor off of our EX6 Keepstar. And I think they did just about everything wrong that they could do. They decided they were going to try and form 3 hours early for this timer, like 3 hours before it came out, right at downtime. And basically what they did was they let us drop jammers before downtime, and it was supposed to be an extended downtime. And they didn't contest those jammers. So by the time the server had come back up, the jammers were almost anchored. And we basically just jumped in with all of our forces. We formed faster than them. We formed better than them. We got in there. The jammers went up, and they just decided they were not going to enter the gates because they had two options to get in. They could go through a gate that had a battleship fleet and 150 carriers and super carriers worth of fighters, or they could go through the other gate that had a battery of Lance Titans and 4 battleship fleets on it. So pick your poison.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have been experts at fighting to do with Cyanogens, wouldn't you? They did it enough. But apparently not. So on the screen at the moment is their litany of pre-pings they sent the entire day, essentially, to try and get more people in. Well, not try and get, but tell their members to be there. And I don't know if anyone has ever seen Horde pre-pings before that's watching. If you haven't, they make a big fuss. They go red pen, everybody be there, divorce you, whatever's. And normally, whenever they do that, and they're attacking us, unless we don't give a shit, it's a bit of a anticlimactic fight.
speaking about their pings there, Dave,
Yeah.
it was actually super funny. So if you look in that top Thanatos ping, you'll see how he's going on about gruel and having the stomach for it. Well, what had happened was us chords kind of got into this ping war against each other because we were reading each other's pings as we were sending them. And Frat had pinged out that it was going to be a long, grueling fight. So then I pinged out that we had the stomach for it. And then the Horde sent that ping. And I went back and pinged against them saying, okay, well, if the beans are going to feast, we're going to bake some beans.
Reminds me of one time during the Dalv War, there was this op we were doing, and ProGod deliberately moved his form up 15 minutes before mine. So I then pre-pinged that the form up was moving 1 minute before his. So he did 1 minute before mine. It just ended up being an hour early in like 1 minute increments because one of us wanted to form first. It is always quite funny when they start responding to you in pings.
Yeah, those ping wars are always funny.
Yeah, they talked a big game, and I mean I was asleep at the time, but from what I gathered, they got to the gate and then went nah, mate. Essentially, which
They didn't even make it to the gate. They got on their Titan. So they had the bridge to another Titan because their staging's not in direct range unless they want to go through the gate that had all the super carrier fighters on it. So they went to the second Titan, sat on that second Titan, got some Sinos over there, realized we had all our battleship fleet sitting on that other gate, and then bridged back to their staging.
Yeah, I've got an audio clip of that actually that I'll play in a minute. But the thing is, they surely should have known. Well, they know the way to get into a Sino Jam system is to get there before your enemy does. Like, but they thought would let them just stroll through the bloody door. Like, we've not really kept it a secret that that's the system where we're going to fuck them up if they go in there. I mean, Ash has said it on Fireside. I've said it several times on here. It's been said in fleets, and they sure as hell have been listening to that. So I don't get why they didn't prepare better. 90% of winning is preparing.
I think it's a big part of Horde has set up Catch to where we have always been the overextended party because we've been trying to form from 1DQ. And that means we have to go through several regional gates, and then we have to. It's not. So EX6 to HY TAC isn't per se a regional, but it's far enough that it acts like a regional. You can't directly from EX6 to HY. And I like to call Catch 3 regions in a trench coat because how the jump ranges work, you really have the northern bit of Catch is really just southern Providence. Then you have central Catch, which is where the hostels are right now in ETAC-Q. And then you have southern Catch, which is the two constellations that we're defending and where our line is. And we can really defend that southern Catch from where we are, but we couldn't defend central Catch because of that regional gate. It works two ways.
Yeah. So on the running away though, so while basically the crux is Catch is king huge. In a way, it's a bit like Fountain where there's a gate, sure, but that gate goes like 3 Titans worth away. So you ain't gonna jump over that gate. So your options
it's a lot
round.
like the KVN CTAC end gate.
Your options are go round where everybody sees you coming. Go through the gate. I mean, if you're gonna go through the gate, at least get on the gate. You know, they blame downtime being extended when it wasn't extended, and they could have logged in as quick as everybody else because it's not like we had forewarning it wasn't extended. Or they could have got in stupidly early, but they didn't.
No, it's always that once you get in, once set up, obviously they don't have the stomach.
No, they can't do it. They showed that in Delve. They didn't have what it took to fight under hostile Sinojammer. Whereas if you look at M2, we did that entire fight under their Sinojammer with them in control of it.
I mean, we say they don't have the stomach to do it under the Sinojammer, but they didn't have the stomach to do it yesterday without a Sinojammer.
Oh yeah, we'll go on to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But real quick, who can tell me, and Zintage and Hyper, I know you know because it's a rhetorical question, which FC was the first to run away from that fall? Anyone in chat can guess? It was Villy. Hold on. Here we go. Got a nice little sound clip here.
Lock a Sino in fucking UQ quick before all the other fleets do. So we don't get fucking tie-dyed behind 5 other fleets. Villy's fleet. If you can just put it at X and Alliance, I'll invite you. I think I'm maxed. First person to get a Sino up in UQ, please. Perfect. There. Invited.
So you have it here first, folks. Villy wanted to get out before everybody else again. Flashback of them evac in Delve, anyone? Where him and Pro got left before the first fight? Well, the last fight, even. I mean, they don't change their spots, apparently. Yeah, then he went on to complain about the Sinojammer, which I'm pretty sure he is the king of using a Sinojammer. He should know how that works. It's his entire tactic: avoid a fight with a Sinojammer.
Take an attempt in EX6, guys. It's just the first. It's just going to have to be a slower process than we'd hope. Obviously, great form today. Thank you very much for coming. But unfortunately, there's a bit too much from the hostiles for us.
Well, they also have that big pile of supers and titans and all
supers,
kinds of
titans,
caps.
under a Sinojammer. I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently the great Sinojammer man can't fight under a Sinojammer. So Hyper's just left, which has screwed the camera up. Give me a sec. I'll fix it. Hyper had to go to his birthday party. Hope he has a great time. Let me just unscrew my camera. There we go. So yeah, the great Sinojam man can't fight under a Sinojammer. I mean, I don't know about you, Zintage, but if it was us, we would have gotten in that system and fought under that jammer. Because, we would have prepared better.
I'd like to think that if it was us,
the jammer would
they wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't have had the jammer up.
Yeah, we would have been watching that like a.
Yeah, we would have been in there before downtime.
At least with Summit to stop the jammer. You don't even need all your fleets in there. You just need one. One to stop the jammer coming online and put the rest in after. They just don't have the stomach to do what it takes. They can't risk losing. Or losing some ships, which, goes on to yesterday a little bit, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And here's their standing down ping. Apparently they had massive girth, and Sandarin is very proud. But they didn't have quite what they needed. And of course blamed supercaps and subcaps and the jammer, as usual. And worried that we're going to go after their stuff and catch. I don't know about you, Zintage. I don't care about their stuff and catch.
No, I don't personally care about their stuff and catch right now.
No. I mean, it's not affecting me. I'm still Stormbringer around.
Yeah.
Making is.
I'm enjoying my Pochman, personally.
Exactly. Who cares about catch? There's only a little bit we care about. And even then, that's kind of like, hey, look, it's catch. But that leads us on to... So, Villy says that it's a random fort. He's just like a gold mine of quotes. Get the right moment in this audio.
Are we still pursuing this FC?
This fight this morning is over. Like there will be no fight. Hostiles have 1,000 people set up on the only entrance gate. System cyno jammed. 500 fucking supers. Da 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 da. It's only a random unanchored fort are, so it's not worth like losing, hundreds of billions of ISK worth of ships to attempt it. And realistically, the attempt would be less than a 1% chance of success at this point with the amount of control they have over the system.
You've been hunked a second time as well.
So you heard it there, guys. Random fort. I don't know. They beat their chest a lot, don't they, Zintage, about Catch and how they're burning it and how they're gonna beat goons. To only then use a random fort.
They do, and I feel like there's a good example of what matters in the actual stream chat here, and it's you can only gauge the importance of a region if you actually live in it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, no one in the Imperium actually lived in Ketch. It was kind of just something that we picked up when World War B ended. Like,
it's baggage.
It ended, and we picked it up because no one else was there. And
it's essentially Brave's second-hand home. They moved out, so we're like, well, yeah, better us than anyone else. But like the area that we're defending in Catch, for as long as I've been in Goons, with the exception of when they tried to evict us, we've always held that space anyway. Like, because it's the buffer zone.
Yeah, so it's hard to get across that gap. I've called it a few times like the Maginot, because there is a way to go around that regional gate, but it's a really strong defensive position. And what it does is, if you don't own it, you don't really have any ability to project into Catch. So it's nice to have. It's not required, but it's really nice to have, because if you have it, you do have the ability to start projecting into Catch instead of having to just go straight through the regional from Quarius into Catch. There's no jumping around that. You'd have to go all the way to Losec and come in from that direction.
Then again, who wants Catch? I think it's just Goblin's way to chest beat to make it look like the fact that they haven't undeployed in the last year and a half and has been moving his members around from one place to another. It's just a way to keep morale up so he can keep his little hubris running around Eve. It's like the Tour de Eve.
It's certainly a morale thing, and it's also a trying to hurt your enemy morale, because they're trying to make it look like, oh, Goons can't defend any of this, even though we've shown twice this week that we can defend it. It's a matter of they attack and they attack and they attack, hoping to provoke us into giving them a defensive CNTZ timer. They want to defend in CNTZ because that's where they can focus on using Frat at their strongest. It's not... The idea is that they slow push, and they slow push, and they slow push, and hope that you eventually break. And then once they get that one system, it goes into CNTZ, and they just assume that you're never going to get it back from CNTZ. But as you heard earlier from Hyper, sounds like we might have a large contingent of new Chinese players coming to Goonswarm. So we'll see how that CNTZ tanking still works for them.
Yeah, they just need to stop counting their chickens before they hatch, basically, I think. Even then, if they manage to hold it in CNTZ, there will come a time where we've set the timers right to, get them. It's all about planning, essentially. You can time zone tank all you like, but if you plan it enough, it works. And Joe, about my mic, I've just done what you suggested, and it's whenever I look away from it. But let's go on to yesterday. Well, actually, before we go on to that, we have a battle report from a previous fight, which I will put up. 1 second.
I do feel like answering what's being said in
Go for it.
stream chat, and it's Catch is more of a pipe to multiple regions. So there's this idea in Eve that there are certain regions that make you like a kingmaker. So Catch lets you control something like 6 regions. Delve lets you control Aquarius, period basis, etc. And then Dronelands lets you control all of the Dronelands. Veil the Silent and Tribute, that lets you control Teenal, Declan, and all of that. So Catch is really just a central point that lets you control everything else.
Yeah, it's just terrible to bloody live in. It's one of those. I would say it's like a transit sort of region. Yeah, it's like Cloud Ring. Cloud Ring's used a lot, is held a lot to transport you elsewhere. You know. Right, so we have a battle report that happened early in the week, which I yet again wasn't around for. But Zintage, you could probably tell us a bit about this fight in Impass where they got their ass handed to them. Again, the one in IV.
So I wasn't actually there for that, but I do have the story. So the numbers on that fight don't really show the real story, like the numbers on that BR. So what that was that was actually our first use of our new Ferox Navy issue doctrine. And we sent Arcadius to work with Sigma, Brave, and Fnatic Legion. And they were fighting. It was Praetorian Beans originally, but it ended up being the whole main fleet Horde. They jump cloned for it. I don't know exactly what they were fighting over there in IV. I think it was soft timers. But basically, Horde had this idea that their Prophecy Navy issues are really good when they're really not. Like, we've been looking at these and we just absolutely hate them. But they decided to brawl our Ferox navies, and BFL showed up with their nightmares, and basically the Prophecy navies just got completely shredded. And then they started killing a couple nightmares, and obviously, since BFL isn't allowed to die, as soon as they started losing ships, they just warped off to a Poston system and hid there. But while this was all happening, Mr. V formed a Cyclone Fleet issue fleet in Delve, and he showed up basically in time to kill boosters and the 2 faxes they left behind. So he showed up with the extra 200 guys at the very end, which makes it look like we outnumbered them a lot more than we did.
Well, as you can see on the timeline, they were losing at some points 4 prophecies to every 1 Ferox they killed. Like, Jesus Christ. So what makes the prophecy bad? I haven't looked at the prophecies because I don't normally find.
Their prophecy is them getting Pyfa baited. So they look at their prophecy and see, hey, this has good damage. It has like 160k EHP. But if you look at what you just pulled up there, you'll notice it has a total of 3 resist mods. A reactive, an energized membrane, and a damage control. And basically, their logi in those fleets are pointless. 1 Guardian can outrep a single Ferox.
Look at the amount of damage it took before it died. It's like nothing.
That's also really deceptive, because when you look at these damage numbers on Z-Kill, that only shows the raw hit points that they took. It doesn't show resist. So you look at our own Feroxes we lost in that fight, they were taking 44,000 damage as well. But ours have much better resist. And actually, if you look at some of the later ones, there was a couple of Feroxes there that were tanking like 140,000, 200,000. I think I saw one like that.
I'll find one in a sec.
I think you want the one like right before that one.
Oh yeah, there you go. So the Logi were putting in the work. That's the big thing, really. There. Also, Felix's fire obscenely quick.
Yeah, I've basically been explaining our Ferox navies as buzzsaws. CCP really needs to, like, when they want to make a new solo ship, they need to take that idea of a ship and give it to like a block fitting team, because they've just made a little monster. The thing goes like 1,600 meters a second, which is super fast. Like, it can run down battleships. Like, it's really fast for a battle cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
And you can load antimatter and put out 700 DPS on a battle cruiser. And the tracking bonus on it's ridiculous, to the point that you basically, like, back in the war, so to speak, you used to be able to take like a Jackdaw fleet and kite around a Ferox fleet and just kill them. You can't do that to Ferox navies. Their tracking is basically like aimbot. It's ridiculous.
So we might see the return of Ferox and Ferox violence.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at a potential new Feroxes online with these.
Hey, are we going back in time, or like?
Well, GP, it's not just a slow eagle that doesn't have to rely on ADC, because unlike the eagle, this thing actually puts out damage. It puts out so much damage.
Yeah, eagles, you need about 100 of them to essentially kill stuff. They rely on really the amount of alpha. If you don't kill it in like 3 volleys, it's probably going to get bad. Whereas these, they're just, as Zinton said, they will just rip through something. They're like angry little battle cruisers with teeth. So yeah, and then so basically their prophecy navies got their ass handed to them, and they should probably rethink them, but they probably won't, because this is what we're talking about. Their ideas are the best.
I can actually give you some dank leaks on that. In the words of a Horde member, our prophecy navies suck. Hostiles know this, and they bring void bombs. You get 5 minutes into a fight, and you're capped out. And then FC sitting there screaming at you to get your prop mod on and overheat. And then Gobbins replied to this with, these are long-range ships that should not be in a ball chasing people. To which the Horde member replied, thanks, boss. Can you tell your FCs that?
But just looking at this damage chart as well, look at the damage, like the... Hold on, let's find the first Ferox Navy. Here we go. So the top Ferox Navy put out 63k damage. And the top Prophecy Navy only put out 20k damage.
Yeah, so also, if you want to see something really cool, so go to the summary on that BR, and then you can switch it to damage. Instead of lost.
1.8 million against...
Yeah. So if you look at our side, you can see with 67 Feroxes, we did like 1.8 million. And then our side, the 240 Cyclone Fleet issues only did 4.94. So the Ferox navies performed amazingly.
And then their prophecy navies, 97 of them did 809. Like, what? Oh.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. I was hearing from Mr. V about this. Basically, if you look at our Feroxes, they had thorium loaded, and they were running Scram Web on their Prophecy Navy issues. And basically, the Ferox Navy spent the entire fight kiting these guys, and they were just the T-Rex with the little arms that couldn't catch up.
And that's actually kind of weird for anything with the name Ferox in it, quite frankly, to be kiting anything.
Yeah, you never hear about Ferox's kiting, but
They're
that's
meant
exactly
to be
what
rammed
happened
into
here.
the enemy and hope for the best. Like, land on 0, don't stop shooting. But yeah, so looks like they need to go back to the drawing board. Or they won't. I mean, I don't really care. They can bring a Prophecy Navy issue against Feroxes for all I can. Ain't gonna win. So that brings us back round to really catch and their hubris. So you guys will remember that it was some random fort that nobody really cared about. Villy 2K24. However, I give you some random Asbal that nobody really cared about. So with this one, I know somewhat the story from the moment I turned up. They anchored. They had, what was it? I think it was the Nightmares in there at first.
It was the Nightmares and the initial Horde Rogue fleet. They ended up bringing reinforcements, but it was the Nightmares. I think it was Horde Nightmares. It was their CNTZ SIG, and then they had their main fleet Rogues. And basically, we had seen them ping for a battleship fleet, and we're like, that's weird. There's no timers. And then we're just sitting there watching. We have characters in EX6. We see them come to EX6. A Roracle appears on the gate, and I'm just like, well, I know what's happening now.
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. So we ping caps. I wake you up, like you get out of bed.
Well, I just turned off my computer, got into bed because I've been playing PAX Day all night. Zintage pings. I go, okay, get out of bed, turn computer back on.
Yeah, so you start forming, we get Dracaris forming, Braves forming. Basically, it was Avengers Assemble from Imperium. And we just start getting in there. I drop carriers on our Keepstar and start sending fighters over. And just to get the thing paused in time, we dropped a couple of dreads on it. Dracaris dropped a couple of dreads as well. We dropped one Revelation and one Zernitra. Dracaris dropped 2 Revelations. And funny enough, our Zernitra lived. And we did not think he was going to live at all. Like, I had told them, ensure, be ready. You're going to get a new ship here in a little bit. They go in, we get it paused. By the time the first Revelation dies, your battleship fleet's warping in. We get it confirmed, paused, and basically from there, it's just our numbers keep coming, their numbers don't. And eventually we outnumbered them by about 500 subcaps. And they went to run out the gate. And I didn't call Init, but Init saw that we had pinged. And Init shows up with a 150-man Scram Retribution fleet. And tackles, like, Horde went to warp to the HY gate to run. There was a bubble up, and they land about like 60 kilometers off the gate. And then Init lands on top of them, scrams all of the Rogues. So basically, the entire Rogue fleet dies. Yeah. And it was just crazy.
That was stupidity. So I loved it. So the Rogue fleet got stuck in the bubble. Then the Nightmare fleets warp in onto grid to try and free them. Promptly get bubbled and just screwed. Then they try and stand their ground. Which, like, we were already... that rogue fleet was already like half a rogue fleet because I was just alpha. Then Heinrich lands his rogue fleet on top of theirs and just starts ripping them a new asshole. And yeah, their nightmare fleet stands their ground. So Zintage goes to me and goes, "Why don't you just kill some nightmares?" And I just started alphaing nightmares.
At that point, that's when our second rogue fleet had landed, and it was a smaller one. So I'm just like, okay, Heinrich, you stay there, you load antimatter, and you keep killing rogues. And I'm just like, Dave, you have a full rogue fleet. Just kill nightmares.
39 bill later, but like they should. Well, first of all, I'm going to give them a little lesson here because I'm good at. I'm well experienced in getting caught when I'm trying to run away. First of all, folks, don't walk to the gate that's on grid with 1,000 hostiles. Point 1. Second point. If one fleet warps to gate and gets stuck, don't warp the more expensive fleets into that gate. Point 2. Point 3. If you do that, don't try and stand your ground against 1,000 hostiles. You will die. So, when this fight was kicking off, Horde, in their divine wisdom, they start pinging for more dudes. This, I can't show this BR because it's updated to the up-to-date one, but this is one of their pings, right after they killed the Dreads. Literally the second before their rogue fleet started getting decimated, trying to defend the Asbel. Like, there was no way they were getting that Asbel online once my fleet landed, because my fleet put the drones on it, and then Zintage's carriers got their fighters on it. It was essentially fucked from that moment. But they were still pinging. And as you can see here, a little bit of hubris from them, hey, it's going good, we've killed some Dreads, essentially is what he's saying here by linking that BR. And then it all went drastically downhill. Over an Asbel, which is ridiculous. So after that, surprisingly, guys, they didn't do any, like, oh no, we tried. It's not something we care about. They just, they were silent.
There you go, Dave. I just pinged you with a fun picture. And that was in it scramming RDMR from that ping in his rogue.
Was it on IG?
Yeah, it's on IG. I pinged you in the channel.
Hold on. Yeah, so those rogues were toast. If we go to the battle report, actually, we can see essentially the timeline of how this occurred. So as you can see, Dracaris are the first on scene and start getting a bit battered.
Well, that's showing UTech Q.
Is it? Yeah. Hold on,
So that was actually our Chinese SIG messing with their Ansiplex.
Ah. Here we go.
Which is what the Nightmares originally formed for, but the Rogues were something separate. So they come in, they kill the bubbles on the gate. That's when they brought in the Rourke. And then you can see pretty quickly the Dreads start dying like 10 minutes later. And basically, as soon as the Dreads start dying, that's when you landed, and you can start seeing them losing rogues.
Yeah, and then it just goes from bad to us. My fleet members, about a quarter of my fleet landed at first, they were going, "Oh, we're getting shot, we're dying." I was just like, I don't care. Put your drones on that Asbel, shoot the target, and die quietly until the Logi gets it. Please.
I had to say, like, I know you didn't like make a perch for your warp in. I know you warped like directly from the Ansiplex, but you basically landed in like the perfect spot for where their fleets were. And it was just pure coincidence. Yeah, it was just like pure coincidence where you landed that it was perfect.
I did lose my shit at the command team though, because I was like, okay, where's the fort? Because you had said they were online in a fort in the ping to FC. So I was like, okay, where's the fort? And one of them goes, oh, well, it's an Asbal. Get you in. I was like, dude, if they don't fucking tell me there's an Asbal, I'm going to be looking for a fucking fort, aren't I? Like, um, ugh. But yeah, like rogue start. Yeah, we trade quite evenly, and then the rest of my fleet starts turning up, and it's just like,
Yeah, then you
Okay,
start
good.
trading, 2-for-1, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse for
And
them
then-
as time goes on.
and then hey, look, there's in it, and
Yeah, so that big ball of Init that died,
they bombed by us.
yes, they were bombed
Yeah.
by us. What's a few bombs between friends?
Exactly, boat would have done it. Yeah, if we go, this fight was quite long as well. If we go down it, see that it swiftly changes from trading to, oh no, we fucked up.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of one of the 1DQ siege fights where we start losing at the very beginning because we have to flash form into their proper form and start getting damage on a structure. But then as time goes on, the goons just keep reinforcing, they keep reinforcing, they keep reinforcing. And then we turn it around at the end. And that's exactly what happened here. Like, we started down probably 30 bill, and then we turned it right around and came up 50 bill. And that was even with Dracaris had at the very beginning there, when we still had our dreads on field shooting the Asbel, they had a really bad warp in because they warped from the EX6 Keepstar and they ended up with their Tempest fleet, issue fleet, like split between 5 spots on the grid because they like tried warping in a formation and there were bubbles on the field. So they got torn all up. It was really bad. Like, they were in all kinds of places and they ended up losing like 10 to 20 TFIs in a single spot because those TFIs landed directly on top of a hostile nightmare fleet and basically just were stuck.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not bothering with formations. They can bomb me if they like. I'm not getting my fleet split between like 5 different. Like, warping in the sphere is great until there's bubbles on grid. Then half your fleet ends up 500 that way, half your fleet ends up 100 that way, and it's just
Skyrider, that would have been Dave's fleet, and that's because I was yelling at Dave, my carriers are on this Asbel, warp over there and start killing nightmares.
I have zero fucks about your drones. Yeah, I was already aligning that way. The issue was there was a bubble right in front of my fleet, and as I said to Zintage, I'm waiting for this bubble to go. The bubble went. I was like, oh, all right, okay. Yeah, it worked out well, I think. So we're coming up to the end. I think we've covered everything. However, I do have one more voice clip from Billy. Which really, it shows he didn't learn from last time. Apparently, Billy thinks that he can take down. Let's hear that.
Catfleet, you can stand down when your subs have stood down as well.
Listen, I get it. You see my name, you're back. You're like, oh, Billy's back. We're going right to Delve. It's like, not this week, okay? Maybe in a couple months, but like, no, it's not the cards right now.
1DQ by Christmas.
So you heard it here, folks. Apparently, Billy thinks in a couple of months he'll be at Delve. Now, I don't know about you, Zintage, but I've definitely seen that one before. And we're in a better place this time.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't see them getting past EX6 right now.
No,
so
even if they do, they ain't gonna get into Queries.
yeah,
like
knock,
we're
knock.
in a
Come
much
on,
better
Billy.
place.
I'd love to see you try.
Bring it. I hear there's real estate in T5Z for a tower of balance. So give it a shot. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Check out our programming later in the week where we've got some variety gameplay. And I will be back next week. Should be with some more entertaining stuff. Hopefully we cause some more fights in the meantime to oh, those cameras are good. That's not to talk about. Well, thank you for coming, Zintage. It's been a pleasure.
been fun.
Yep.
Always love a good time to stomp on Horde.
Oh, I love it. I do. I love it. Funny, last week I was going to have Woodyus on and I wasn't going to actually shit talk Horde, but then he couldn't come on, so I was like, you know what? Let's shit talk Horde. So yeah. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next time.